Welcome to Priceless Takes.
And we are live from South Carolina in the United States. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 27 of Priceless Takes. I am your host, Luka Price. Thrilled to be with you here today. Once again, joining me, Oscar Hardcastle and Tyson McMullen, our renowned guests for the show. Thank you for being with us. Gentlemen, we have a huge episode today, quite possibly one of the biggest in the short history of Priceless Takes, because for the first time since this show has been running, we have the NBA playoffs commencing. Now, right now, the Chicago Bulls-Miami Heat game is currently on. If you couldn't tell by Oscar wearing his jersey, he is our Bulls fan for the show. And he's getting pretty excited because for the Bulls to come back from the 10 seed and make it to the 8 seed would be pretty good. But we have a lot to get into today. Obviously, the first round of the playoffs starts tomorrow. 4 games coming live to you from 1 p.m. Eastern time in the US. For my Australian friends, that'll be 3 a.m. So I don't know how many of you will be up for that. Brooklyn and Philadelphia is the first game, but we have a packed show. We're going to give you our Western and Eastern Conference Finals predictions. We're going to give you our NBA Finals predictions, and then we're going to dissect some of the potential series or some of the current series that are going to be played out, because we definitely have some differing opinions when it comes to certain teams. But we're going to get straight into it with some predictions, starting with the Western Conference, because the Western Conference is the one that is the most up for grabs right now. I think we can all agree. Currently, the Suns are the betting favorites to go to the NBA Finals out of the West. And the Lakers are actually second in odds. Sorry, that's a lie. The Lakers are third in odds behind the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies are second. But the main thing is the Suns are first. And everyone else seems to be in the mix. And I am not too sure who you guys think is going to come out of the West. I'll give you my predictions in a second. But, Oscar, I'm going to ask... Actually, Tyson, I'll ask you first, because I feel like you might have the more biased answer towards this, but
how could it be
conference finals, who do you got, and how many games do you have the winner winning in to advance the NBA Finals?
So the conference finals, I have a Suns versus Lakers matchup.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Predictable.
And it's a 7-game series with the Lakers taking it.
Right. Okay. And what are your main reasons behind why do you think the Lakers match up well against the Suns?
He's a Lakers fan. That's the reason.
From a basketball perspective, what reasons do you have for this outcome?
They don't think like that.
I just think the Suns just don't have that winning chemistry. They've just put in a whole bunch of good players together with no sort of mix. Like, yeah, they're really good players, but what's their history with the championship? As where KD had to join a super team to just be in the finals. D-Book, he's bum. He lost. CP lost as well. DeAndre lost as well. So, like, I mean, and they don't really have that much as good as depth as they used to. So, I don't know.
I think that's very valid, which is why I'm surprised you had them advancing so far in the playoffs. Because I think what you said is very valid, but
the Clippers are going to beat them.
I do think the Suns will beat the Clippers, but the Nuggets Suns.
The majority of people think that
The Nuggets Suns matchup will be interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting. So
yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay, so on the Lakers side, you have the Lakers beating the Grizzlies, and then the Lakers beating the Warriors.
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that would be an interesting series. I'll move to you, Oscar, in your Western Conference Finals prediction. Where do you have your conference finals at, and who advances?
I've got the same thing. I've got the Suns and Lakers getting to the conference finals. I think probably I'd say just from experience, they've got so much talent, and Lakers are playing well, Suns are playing brilliantly with KD now, but I think that the Suns win in 6.
Okay. The Suns win in 6. Do you just think that it's got
I think I think too much talent. I think KD takes over.
Yeah.
I know LeBron and LeBron's obviously fantastic, and AD's playing really really well. But outside of that, you've got pieces that are playing well. But when it comes to the Suns, they're just they are a well molded team. You've got Monty as coach, who's a fantastic coach, and you pretty much got LeBron coaching the Lakers. So I just see that. And you talk about chemistry. The Lakers have changed the team each year.
They
play
have, but
basketball.
the core pieces still remain.
The core pieces still remain, but you've still got that core of that Suns team that made the finals, and then add KD to that. That's dangerous. That is dangerous. I think they're going to take it into the finals.
You lost two of your starters as well.
But you still got CP3, you still got DeAndre. You still got
but DeAndre doesn't even want to be there.
But you still got he's still playing good ball. He's still playing good basketball, and CP3 runs the team. So
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, listen, both some very valid points. I think based off your predictions,
KD takes over, man.
Based off your predictions, you're definitely not going to like my predictions, because my predictions are a fair bit different. No, I am a realist. I do not think the Clippers are going to make it to the conference finals. But
again,
mine is probably a little bit more boring. I have, as my first team in the conference finals, the Memphis Grizzlies, and they will lose to the 1 seed Denver Nuggets, who I think will get to the finals, and I think the Nuggets will beat them in 6 games. For me, what it comes
to loser picks.
Look, unfortunately, it's not the sexiest.
The 1 and 2 seed.
No, it's not the sexiest pick. But when you look at the matchups, I think that they're going to meet in the conference finals. And
so you think Cinderella runs from the Lakers?
No, I think you two are getting caught up in the
Warriors
hype.
Or the Clippers.
No, I think you guys are getting caught up in the hype. I think both of you are getting caught up in the hype from the Lakers and the Suns. We're going to get into a deep dive into why I think you guys are caught up in the hype, because a lot of it has to do with the first round series. So we have the Lakers advancing to the finals from Tyson. We have Oscar saying the Suns, and myself with the Nuggets. Now, on the Eastern side, Oscar, I'll start with you this time. Who do you think faces them in the finals on the Eastern Conference? This is probably a bit of a clearer, I guess, in terms of the amount of teams that could make it. It's really a 3-horse race. I think we can all agree on that. I personally, think it's a 2-horse race.
I think you're missing out on a horse, quietly.
Well, I think, I don't know. I think that horse you might, do you think I'm missing out and could get knocked out in the first round? We'll talk about that
tonight.
We'll talk. So, Oscar, what are your conference finals predictions for the East? Who makes it? Who wins? How many games?
Bulls win tonight, sweep the Bucks, make it to the finals. I think that the Bucks dominate that side of the bracket, make it to the conference finals. I think the 76ers get there. Not as easy as the Bucks, but get there. I think they beat Boston, and I think they lose to the Bucks in a fantastic 7-game series.
7? Okay, so 7 in Milwaukee. Tyson?
Because imagine that. That would be the best final ever.
It could be. It definitely could be. Tyson, are you on the same page as Oscar, or you got someone else heading out of the East?
Well, I've got Celtics and Bucks in the conference finals.
Okay.
I've got Celtics and Bucks.
You're a little Celtics rider, aren't you? For being a Lakers fan, you're a little Celtics rider.
I just love the one player. I love Jason Tatum. I do love him, but
still 19.
He's still 19. But I don't know why. I can just imagine a world where Jason Tatum dominates Giannis, and they go to the finals in a 7-game series. I can just see it. He's averaging maybe 40.
Jason doesn't stand
40,
up
10,
to
and
big
6.
games, man.
He's averaging 40, 10, and 6 in the conference finals. Chris Middleton goes back to his bum ways. You know how he has good games and off games. He has a consistent off game. I just think that's a possibility.
Well, Chris Middleton playing would be a start, because Chris Middleton wasn't even available for the Celtics-Bucks second-round playoff series last year. And I think had they had Chris Middleton, the Bucks win that. in 7, maybe even 6. I think it's not really a close series.
It depends how healthy he is. You know.
Look, the way I perceive it is I think the Bucks are better this year than they were last year, and I don't think the Celtics are as good this year as they were last year. And that's the reason I have the Milwaukee Bucks heading to the NBA Finals. I do think it'll go 7 games because I think that Milwaukee will probably struggle on the road in Boston, and I think that they'll need all 7 games to get it done. But at the end of the day, Giannis is that guy, and I think he's going to lead his team to the finals. I think he is going to prove himself to be the best player in the world, undisputedly, after these playoffs have finished. So with that saying, in that saying, I have the Bucks Nuggets in my finals, and I have the Milwaukee Bucks winning in 6 games, and Giannis winning his second championship and his second finals MVP. I think the Milwaukee Bucks have been the best team from top to bottom. I think they had the best team. I think they've played the best all year in the regular season, and especially they've come in with nice form into the playoffs. And assuming there are no catastrophic injuries, I believe they will win. Tyson, you have a Celtics Lakers finals, which would be quite something, quite a throwback. Who takes that series out? And in
Lakers
how many
in 7.
games?
Lakers in 7.
Okay.
7-game series. Very good series, though. It'll probably be the best one in all of history.
Okay. And LeBron for finals MVP, or does Anthony win that? Does Anthony dominate?
Austin Reeves, he pulls his power from the pack. No, LeBron, yes. LeBron will show people why he's making a name for himself.
Yeah. He's 30-10, I reckon, averaging in the finals if he makes finals.
Yeah, look, I'm not too sure, but Oscar, on your side, who do you have taking out the finals? You have Milwaukee and Phoenix, which is currently the most likely matchup according to the betting odds.
I think Phoenix will take it, and CP3 will hoist the trophy, and I think KD will hoist the finals MVP.
Well, listen, I appreciate the predictions. We'll definitely see how these turn out. At least we have 3 different championship winners, so we'll be able to really, really see who hit the nail on the head. But we got to focus now on what's actually happening, and that's the first round of the playoffs, because as much as we like to predict, we don't know what's going to happen. And I think the most polarizing series, arguably in this first round, is Tyson, your Los Angeles Lakers, versus the Memphis Grizzlies. And I think that there's a lot of different debate as opposed to who's going to win this. But since the NBA trade deadline, the Lakers have had the best record in the Western Conference, an 18-9 record. The team who has had the second best record during that time span is the Memphis Grizzlies at 18-10. So they are right there. The Lakers are 2-1 against Memphis this regular season. How many games do you think the Lakers beat the Grizzlies in? We know you've got the Lakers winning the championship, so we know you have them winning in the first round too.
Yeah.
How many games do they get it done in? Do you think it goes 7, or do you think they can finish it on the Lakers' home court?
I think it'll be 6. I think Grizzlies will get out of the first 3 games 2, just that confidence. But then I just think they just lose all their tempo, momentum. I just think that inexperience really shows, and that's where LeBron dominates.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah,
6
I got it in 6. Yeah.
6 games. How do you think AD's impact is going to measure up in this game? Because I think he's the X factor, really. LeBron will be LeBron, and we know what LeBron's going to bring to the table in the playoffs. But the real question mark, I think, is Anthony Davis, especially with a Grizzlies front court that is quite depleted. So, what type of impact do you expect Anthony Davis to have in this playoff series?
I think Anthony Davis will be Anthony Davis. He's a beast. We saw a little glimpse of him earlier in the season, dominant stretch, and I think he's gonna try and replicate that throughout these playoff series and show the world that he's not just Anthony day-to-day Davis. He's a beast. I think he's gonna dominate.
Yeah. Look, I I'm not too sure personally, but I'm going to have to hear what Oscar has to say. He might be in a bit of distraught because I think the Bulls are about to get rolled. Well, they probably have already lost. I think my stream's a bit behind. But, Oscar, you want to give us an update on the game before you give us your prediction for this series?
It's 96-91, 40 seconds left
Okay.
to Miami.
All right. Okay.
And I think they just got fouled on the 3-point line.
Yeah,
So.
that's what it looks like on my screen too. But Lakers, Grizzlies, how many games do the Lakers win? Tyson says 6. Same, more, less.
I think 6 as well. I think Lakers winning 6. I think it could push out to 7, and it would be really sick. I think there's going to be some storylines with Big Dylan Brooks and things like that. But I think AD will dominate that series. I think Jaren Jackson, he's got his hands full. I know he's decoy candidate, but I think LeBron and AD just going to be a bit too much for him to handle in the playoffs.
Yep, very valid. Listen, I have this game going 6 games as well, but unfortunately, I do not have the Los Angeles Lakers winning this series, and there's a few reasons why. Now, look, although the Lakers are 2-1 against the Grizzlies, both wins did come at home, and Memphis is going to have home court in this series. So I think that's going to play a factor. There's a lot of elements that go into it. And the reason I asked you, Tyson, about Anthony Davis is because in the regular season, in the 2 games he played, he averaged 30 points, 20 rebounds, and 3.5 blocks. Now, if he averages that for this series, I think the Los Angeles Lakers are going to win this series. And I think they'll end up winning quite comfortably. But I don't trust Anthony Davis in this playoff series. And I do trust Ja Morant. Because on the same side, Ja Morant averages 30 points, 9 assists, 6.5 rebounds. And I think when it comes down to it, the Grizzlies are a younger, more explosive team that, and you say inexperienced, but I disagree. I think they have got enough experience to beat the Lakers. I think they really took it to the Warriors last year. When you look at it, they beat them by 40 points in a game 5.
I think they're good enough to win it. I just think they're gonna struggle with. It's gonna be they have to play really, really well. I think Jaren Jackson's got his hands full there.
I just think the Grizzlies have enough personnel, and Jaren Jackson will have his hands full. And the one stat that does concern me while I was looking at the preview for this series is that in 17 playoff games, Jaren Jackson Jr. has logged 30-plus minutes only 5 times. And this is because of the foul trouble he gets into. Now, that is going to have to change if Memphis want to win this series.
AD in the paint, game over.
Listen,
a lot
the other element, and that's the thing. The Lakers average the most free throws per game out of any team in the NBA. Now that's a fact. Okay, they do that, but I think in a 7-game series, I think that Memphis is just going to outlast them. We saw what happened to LeBron the other night. You cannot tell me. He had a good play where he set Schroeder up for the 3, and he had the good play where he hit the 3 beforehand. But he was if you watch the game, you could see LeBron was absolutely gassed, and he had so many careless turnovers.
And still dropped 30
against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And what do we expect out of the Minnesota Timberwolves? Absolutely nothing. Without Rudy Gobert, which may have helped them in the end, and without Jaden McDaniels.
If a team doesn't miss, any team can win.
Yeah.
Well, they ended up missing in the second half. In the first half, they shot 53% from 3, and they cooled off in the second half. If Anthony Edwards had a shot 50% for that game, the Lakers would be playing tonight.
Mike Conley missed like 1 shot. If the team's shooting well on any given night, they can win a basketball game. That's just how it works. That's how basketball works.
Okay, I understand.
And the Lakers played not a great game of basketball and still won it.
Yeah, they did.
And should have won it. It should have won it in the without overtime.
Well, this is the thing. LeBron, we never see LeBron have so many careless turnovers late in ball games. You cannot tell me when the ball got inbounded to him and Taurean Prince just picked his pocket. When have you ever seen LeBron do that in a high pressure situation? Then again,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They held their nerve and they won the basketball game.
It doesn't matter for this Timberwolves game, but I don't think you're going to be able to make a mistake like that against the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they're a far better team. I think they are a far better team, and I think that the challenges LeBron faced against the Minnesota defense, I think he's going to face a lot more challenges in this Memphis defense.
At the end of the day,
And
it's LeBron James
I think
who wins basketball games.
Dylan Brooks is going to give him some trouble, personally.
LeBron is the most sturdy-headed man in the league. Dylan Brooks is not doing anything
put it this way.
to LeBron's mentality. Nothing.
Either one
he's
of you
going to try. He's going to be chirping.
Either one of you. No, I don't think that's going to matter. What does matter? And I want you to answer this. What happened the last time the Lakers were in the playoffs? Either one of you can answer that question.
AD. No.
What happened? I don't know.
Is that not it?
Well, the Lakers got ramrodded by the Suns, and I don't think AD's injury really had that much of a part to play because they were still getting destroyed even when AD was on the court.
It's different,
but that was with the worst team.
The Lakers are playing. It doesn't matter, Luka. The Lakers are playing good basketball. Very good basketball. Memphis. Yeah, but Memphis, they don't have it. They don't have it in the playoffs.
I think this Grizzlies team is poised for takeoff, personally. And I think if they had Steven Adams and Brandon Clark, I don't think this series would actually even be close. But I just think that Memphis are just too young, too athletic, and I think they're going to run the Lakers off the court. I don't think the Lakers, I think they are the most overhyped 7 seed to ever get into the playoffs. I just don't see it. I saw bad signs in that Minnesota game. And that's one game. This is a 7-game series, and I don't think they have it in the tank.
Exactly. They had no room for mistakes in the one game.
Listen, we will definitely see.
There's more stakes on that one game getting into the playoffs than this whole series.
We will see how it turns out. We will certainly have some more debates. We've got Lakers in 6 for both. I have Memphis in 6. The Memphis are actually favored in the series. It's the first time LeBron has ever been an underdog in the first round of the playoffs. Fun stat for you. But we're going to move on to our second series, which on the surface seems pretty simple, but it could have a few more complex elements to it. But I think we're all in agreement that this series, the defending champion Golden State Warriors and the Sacramento Kings, the 3-6 matchup, there's a lot of elements going on. Andrew Wiggins is expected to make his return. Around 20 to 25 minutes off the bench is his expected role in Game 1. I think that's going to play a huge difference. Golden State are 3-1 against the Kings this year. Obviously, the last game they played right before the playoffs doesn't really matter to me. The Kings didn't play anyone. And a lot of people seem to have the Warriors winning. I think all 3 of us have the Warriors winning.
I think the Sacramento winning would be sick, though. It would be very cool.
It would be, but I don't know. How many games do you have the Warriors winning in? Oscar?
I don't want to count Sacramento out too much. I think 6 as well. I think Sacramento is a good put together team, and I think they can win a few games against the Warriors.
Tyson? 6, 7, 5, sweep?
It probably could be 5.
I was going to say either 5 or 6, if I'm being honest, for the Warriors. I just think the Kings don't really have it. I mean, like they can play some good basketball, but not that winning basketball like the Warriors do. And now Warriors got Andrew Wiggins back. Like they're just going to get into their groove, and they know what to do. So they're just going to be the Warriors.
Yeah, listen, the Kings' defense was ranked 26th overall for the season.
Curry's going to do his thing.
And if there's one thing I know, it's that defense wins championships. Because oftentimes, we don't see these record-breaking offenses really, really shoot the lights out in the playoffs. The Kings this season had the best offensive rating in NBA history, but we saw that with the Mavericks last year, albeit they did make it to the conference finals. But at the end of the day, having the best offensive rating isn't really a metric for winning championships compared to having a good defense. And I think that with Wiggins back, this is really, really going to help the Warriors' defense, even if he's off the bench. But I also don't think that Sacramento is ready for playoff Steph and for playoff Clay, because quietly, Klay Thompson has had one of the best seasons of his career. And no one's really talking about it. In terms of his three-point percentage and his overall makes, he's made the most threes in a season this season compared to any of his previous seasons. And I think this is something that really can't be overlooked. The thing is, the Warriors are 11-30 on the road. And that's the one thing that could kill them. But they have won a game on the road in 27 straight playoff series. So I think that shows that they can turn it up when the playoffs come. Curry averages 33 points, 6.5 rebounds, 5 assists on 58, 50, and 91 field goal splits.
That's crazy.
Against the Kings, which is crazy. Shooting 50% from 3 for an opponent across 4 games is pretty good. Additionally, the Wiggins was there for the previous 3 games against the Kings. His stats, 25 and 6, along with 2 steals, 55 and 40 splits for him. So I think he's going to be able to integrate. But the other thing is the coaching battle. The thing that the Kings could have the advantage of is, well, that's the thing, Coach of the Year, but also, if there's one person who should know the Warriors inside out, it should be Mike Brown. He's been an assistant on that staff for ages, so you'd think he would know how to beat them. But playoffs is all about matchups, and I just don't think the Kings match up well against the Warriors. I just don't think it's a good matchup for them personally. The Aaron Fox will do his thing, but I don't think Sabonis is really a big game player. I'm really yet to see that out of him.
Hey.
He just doesn't have it. He just doesn't have it for me. He's just not.
He racks them up. He's quiet, but
he is quiet. Look, he 21 and 17 and 6 against the Warriors this year. That's nothing to shy away. That's very impressive. But I think
he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it like loudly, but he
doesn't. He doesn't. But look, I think we can all agree on the Warriors in this series. I hope Sacramento can make it a series, but we're going to get on to the next series, and I think along with the Lakers-Grizzlies series, this is, in terms of storyline, probably up there with the Clippers and the Suns, the Westbrook and KD rematch, and Paul George is one of the big headlines of this series. He went on his podcast the other day, said he's feeling good, got the knee brace, but personally, I think they're not telling us everything. I don't think he's going to play in this first round series, if I'm being honest. I would be quite surprised unless the Clippers get in an early 0-2 hole and they don't have a choice. But personally, I think the Clippers are going to split the opening 2 games of the series, and I don't think there's going to be any pressure for Paul George to come back. And I think that they don't want to bring him back unless he's fully healthy. Now, the Suns are 8-0 with Kevin Durant. I think we can all agree on that. But the other aspect, Durant's played 45 games this year. Devin Booker's played 51 games. And Chris Paul's played 57. Now, that's a lot of games missed in an 82-game season. Now, I hope that the Suns stay healthy. I wouldn't want them to not be healthy. Personally. No. Like, I'm just saying because
trade for KD.
No, because I don't like what ifs. Because what happens is if someone gets injured, then someone says, "Oh, they only won because, the Clippers only won because of so," or the Nuggets only beat.
I think they get knocked out in the second round if they win it anyway.
or the Nuggets only beat the Suns because of injury. I don't want that to happen. I want everyone to be healthy. Durant, Westbrook, Booker, Kawhi, it's a star-studded playoff matchup. I think it might be one of the most star-studded 4-5 matchups we've seen, maybe in NBA history. But who wins? How many games? And I want to I'll ask the original question first. Oscar, I'll ask you of you. Who wins and how many games? You have the Suns winning the chip. So how many games they beat the Clippers in?
Well, I think I told you before the Suns in 5, but I think the Suns in 4.
Really?
I think the Suns are going to see. I think they're going to struggle without Paul George.
God.
I think KD is going to drop buckets on anyone that's guarding him. Kobe couldn't even guard the guy. KD is just going to ball out, and then I don't think anyone on that team is stopping DeAndre Ayton. No one's
that I agree
balling.
with.
You've got Kawhi Leonard. That's about it. Westbrook's doing all right, but he's not a playoff player. We know this, and Suns in 4. Get out
Suns
of here,
in
Clippers.
4.
Sweep.
Suns in 4. Look, I think if you bet $1 million on that result, you would go home broke. Because there's no way. There's no way. You're underestimating the Clippers too much. Tyson,
Oh, yeah,
I like to think you don't agree with him, but, I might be wrong.
You cut out there. What was that?
What do you think, T-Man?
I said, I said I'd like to think you don't agree with him, but you're more than welcome to prove me wrong. How
He does.
long do you think this series lasts?
So, see, I was thinking like maybe Suns in 4.
Yeah.
All five, if I'm being honest.
Oh my God.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, it's either 4 or 5.
It could be 5, but I just see the Suns just smoking them. I didn't see much else from the Clippers.
Listen, it's not actually. It is quite often I give you two gents an education in basketball, and I think this is going to be another one of those instances where I'm going to have to educate you, because we're going to look back in this in 2 weeks' time when the Clippers defeat the Suns in 6 games.
Clippers be knocked out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be laughing because I think there is so many factors that everyone is overlooking in this series, and I could probably go on for about an hour talking about the factors that everyone's overlooking. But I'm going to try to keep it short. Now, what I'm first going to start with is, yes, the Suns are 8-0 with Kevin Durant. Let me just give you a list of these teams, okay? The Hornets, the Bulls, the Mavericks, the T-Wolves, the Nuggets.
What are you saying about the Bulls?
The Nuggets with the B team twice, the Nuggets second team twice, the Thunder, and the Spurs. Now,
Thunder are a good team.
Now, in total, there is potentially, really, they've played one playoff team in those 8 games. And that's going to be the winner out of the Thunder and the Timberwolves. One playoff team. Because the Nuggets second team doesn't count. It's the Nuggets second team. One playoff team in 8 games. Now, there's so many other things we have to look at. The last time we saw the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs, Luka Doncic blew them off their home court in a Game 7.
Luka's pleading here. He's pleading.
The last time we saw the Phoenix Suns in a playoff series, they got blown off their home court by Doncic. And it was, I don't know what the score was in the end, but at one point they were down by 42. And it was quite possibly the most embarrassing performance we've seen from a number 1 seed in the playoffs in a Game 7 on their home floor. Now, what happened, the last time we saw Kevin Durant in the playoffs? We saw him get absolutely smashed by the Boston Celtics, and they got swept. Now, putting those two things together in tandem, playing 8 games, I do not think I have ever seen a team get assembled this quickly and go on and win a championship, because it doesn't work. Okay? The Brooklyn Nets were 13-3 with Durant, Kyrie, and Harden. And what happened to them? Okay, they couldn't get it done.
That team was a disaster, though. That team was a disaster.
They couldn't get it done.
You can't say that team was a championship team when the problems that they had off the court was unbelievable. Harden wanted out straight away. Kyrie wanted out.
Well, listen, we don't know the problems the Phoenix Suns are going to have because they haven't had any problems yet.
They're balling out
against mediocre teams, and that's extremely dangerous. If the Suns manage, personally, I think the Clippers are going to win Game 1, but I think the Suns will come back and win Game 2. What happens if the Clippers win Game 3 and go up 2-1 in the series? If they have the Suns the Suns haven't faced any adversity, and we know Kevin Durant isn't the mentally strongest superstar in the world, is he? We know he's had shortcomings in the playoffs. Devin Booker and Chris Paul have had shortcomings in the playoffs. Now, I'm not going to.
He's called a Finals MVP. I'm not going to pretend.
I'm not going to pretend the Clippers haven't had shortcomings in the playoffs either. But when you just look at it, the Phoenix Suns, I think there is a very good chance the Phoenix Suns collapse in this series because they have not faced any adversity, and we don't know what's going to happen when they do face some sort of adversity, and I think it could go incredibly wrong. Please, your response.
Luka, you're forgetting that the Clippers are one of the worst playoff teams we have ever seen in the history of basketball. You've got a guy who's won multiple championships in KD. You've got CP3, who's one of the greatest passing point guards of all time, and a fantastic defender, steals wise and getting his hands in deflections wise. You've got Ayton, who's absolutely going to ruin any center you put on him because you've got no one at that position. It's just not a competition to me, this game. And you say, what if they go up 2-1? It's not going to happen because they are the worst playoff team to ever touch a basketball.
How many championships has Kevin Durant won?
How many you got? 2.
How many championships has Kawhi Leonard won?
He was in one of the best Spurs teams of all time.
I don't care. I don't care.
One was with one of the best teams
Kawhi Leonard's run with the Toronto Raptors was far more impressive than any championship run.
But he's not that player anymore, Luka. He's not that player anymore at all.
I disagree. Maybe not through a regular season grind, but I think in the playoffs he can be that player.
I think he can be great in the playoffs too, but he's not that player anymore. He can't drag a team to a championship like he did with Toronto. He can't.
When drag a team to a championship?
He doesn't need to because he's always been on great teams.
This is Kawhi. I don't think Kawhi is going to have huge.
It's not a great team, though. It's a terrible team.
No, they're not a terrible team.
Without Paul George, they're not fantastic, Luka. They're not fantastic.
They're not a terrible team. Okay,
terrible, but they're not great without Paul George.
Tyson, please.
They're missing a lot of talent.
Okay, your 2 cents, Tyson.
I agree. The Suns don't have that chemistry, and they've played bum teams with their stat of KD with them 8-0 or something like that.
Chemistry, there's too much shit about chemistry.
But I also agree that the Clippers do suck ass in the playoffs. Okay? So what I'm saying is...
the Clippers were in the playoffs, they were in the conference finals. I don't see your point.
And then what happens? And what happened 50 years before that? What happened the 50 years before that?
What happened most recently?
Look, so it's a tough matchup straight off the bat in the first round without PG. So instantly you're on the back foot. You're a bit, you're scared. What's going to happen?
Luka likes his storylines too much.
Four good players coming at you. But here's the thing as well. Honestly, this series, they should just do a rock, paper, scissors to who, like out of 3, who wins, if I'm being honest. Because this one, I could see you go either way, like realistically with PG there. But
with PG there?
Yeah, with PG there, yeah.
No. Listen.
Either way.
I think with PG they struggle still.
Listen, the only point I do agree with you on,
they had Devin Booker as well,
is I think that DeAndre Ayton will dominate whichever one of Zubats and Plumlee goes up against him. And that was one of the biggest things why the Suns did beat the Clippers in the conference finals. But I think the Clippers can overcome it. And I just think that the Suns are poised to absolutely crumble. I think the Clippers thrive best as underdogs. They are severe underdogs. And everyone is underestimating.
When have they ever thrived as underdogs? When have they ever thrived?
The entire 2021 series, it was just unfortunate Kawhi got injured. If Kawhi...
Let's be serious here. The Clippers have never thrived as a basketball team. They've never thrived.
Listen, the other element, and I know we bagged Westbrook, but I think that this is a legacy series for him. Because if
he's going to play out of his mind.
If he can go out and stick it to Kevin Durant and beat Kevin Durant in a playoff series, I think everyone is going to look at both of them differently. I think Westbrook is going to outplay Chris Paul in this series.
If they get knocked out in the second round.
No, I disagree. I think if Westbrook beats Kevin Durant in a first-round series, I think that'll change the way a lot of people view Russell Westbrook and his legacy. and Kevin Durant, personally.
People already underrate him, but
Look, first game Sunday, Monday for the two of you. But we're going to get into our last matchup. The New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I think this is going to be a great series that, quite frankly, no one is talking about.
I like this.
yeah,
Now,
I think it'll be
the
fantastic.
The Cavs are favoured. We know what Donovan Mitchell brings to the table. He's an absolute scoring machine. He's put up historic numbers in the playoffs. We know what he's capable of. He averages 32 and 7 against the Knicks this year, but the Knicks have beaten the Cavs 3-1 in the season series. So we know the Knicks are capable of winning. There's a lot of different elements. Julius Randle is coming off an ankle injury. He's expected to return for game one. There's the Garden, the Knicks. Last time they were in the playoffs as the 4 seed, they were incredibly disappointing, and Trae Young tore them to shreds. Who wins in how many games? Tyson, I'll ask you first. How do you see this series playing out?
I honestly, this is the one I was like really skeptical about. Like, I could see it going like either way in a 7-game series. It's either like D Mitch goes his scoring streak, or the Knicks pull off a miracle second round journey. They go to the second round. So I don't know, but I really want the Knicks to go. I really want the Knicks to go. So, to go further, sorry.
Okay, but do you think what's your gut? Do you think they can get it done?
Yeah.
Realistically.
Realistically, I think they can.
So are you going to go on the record taking the Knicks, or are you still going to take Cleveland?
That's the thing, I don't know. But okay, for this, I'll take the Knicks. I'll take the Knicks.
Knicks in how many?
Seven.
Knicks in 7. Okay, Oscar, your thoughts?
I think it's just one of the ones that you just no clue. I think the Knicks. I want the Knicks to win as well. I love Knicks fans. I want them to win. They go crazy, and they will go crazy if they win. I think the Cavs will win in 7, but I want the Knicks to win it in 7 because that would be insane.
Yeah, it would be insane. And personally, I've been going back and forth on this series, and for some reason, I just think that Jalen Brunson can come up with the goods in this series. And I think the key is it's really, as much as we like Julius Randle and Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, it's going to come down to who plays better out of Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell. And whichever one of those two plays better, I believe that is the team that will win the series. Now, I think Jalen Brunson in his first playoff series is a Knick. I think last matchup against the Cavs, we saw him drop 48. So we know he can score, and we know he can score on Cleveland, who is statistically has the best defense in the NBA. Evan Mobley's a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So we know what they bring to the table, but I think New York's going to pull this one out. I think they're going to right the wrong of 2 seasons ago when they were in the playoffs, and I think they're going to win in 7. And I don't think they're going to get much further than that. But I really hope they do not go back to their choking ways, because it was flat out embarrassing when they were the 4 seed and they got whitewashed by Trae Young. It was flat out embarrassing for the Knicks. It was embarrassing. And I think New York needs to stand up and win a playoff series for their team. That's the last series we're going to do in depth. We have 2 more series. Well, we have the Miami and Milwaukee. So maybe a 2-word answer. How many games and who wins? We won't talk too much into it as we're running out of time. But Miami, Milwaukee, how many games? Oscar, I'll ask you first.
Bucks in 4.
Bucks in 4. Tyson?
I was gonna say Bucks in 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Miami had an absolute stinker tonight.
If it was the Bulls,
it'd be Bucks. That Bulls would forfeit after 3 games if it was the Bulls. They would just there'd be Bucks by murder. But Celtics Hawks. I've heard some people say the Hawks are going to upset Boston. I think this is absolute lunacy. I think it's absolute lunacy. I don't think they got a shot. But Oscar, Celtics Hawks, who wins how many games?
I think the Trae Young DeJounte Murray experiment has been a disaster. I think it's Celtics in 4, I'd say.
Tyson?
Yeah, either Celtics in 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'm going to give Atlanta a game just because I think Trae Young's all right, even though he can annoy me. But I think he can pull one out. I think he might have a masterclass in one of those games 3 or 4 in Atlanta. Maybe have a 40 or a 50 piece. But Marcus Smart's going to be hounding him this entire series. So that could make things quite difficult on him. The last series, 76ers Brooklyn. I think this is a fairly simple series, but some people are trying to feed into the Brooklyn hype. Tyson, who wins? How many games?
76ers in 5.
5? Okay.
I reckon
Oscar?
Brooklyn can take them.
I think the Sixers they're prone to losing weird games. I think same 76ers in 5. They're prone to losing a game or two.
Yeah, just because I really want the 76ers to get a whole lot of hype by sweeping the Brooklyn Nets and then just see them absolutely come crashing down against Boston.
We got some 76. Don't step foot Philly because you will get hit.
I'm going to call... No, well, okay. As much I just...
Don't step foot Philly.
Listen.
Watch yourself.
They're
crazy.
These Philly fans are coming at me on Twitter with all these absolutely ridiculous takes. And look, I respect them. I respect that they love their team, but they're gonna come short. So I think they're gonna sweep, I think they're gonna start the playoffs strong because realistically, I just don't see how Brooklyn can really match up unless Mikal Bridges just goes crazy. But you can't sit and tell me Joel Embiid shouldn't average 40 for this series, having Nick Claxton on the other side, who's a great defender. But he doesn't have enough bricks in his back pocket to deal with Joel Embiid.
And then you're saying if they win the next series, they're going to get dominated by the Celtics.
Well, they're not going to get
Who's stopping Joel Embiid?
They're not going to get dominated, but the Celtics will win in 6.
Who's stopping Joe on that team?
No, the Celtics will win in 6, and Joel Embiid will still be disappointing. Hopefully, he doesn't get injured because I want to see them be healthy. But look, they're going to get past the first round.
Dunking on that whole team, bro.
Look. We are out of time, but we will get into it on the next episode. Playoffs start tomorrow. We will be back after the first couple of games to discuss our reaction so far in the series. But currently, we turn our attention to the final game of the night. The Minnesota Timberwolves at home against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I would love to see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the playoffs. I really hope he does make it.
And Joshua.
Yeah, and Josh, our Australian brother. We hope he makes it too. But that is all, ladies and gentlemen, for episode 27 of Priceless Takes. Thank you for joining us. We will definitely be revisiting these predictions in a couple of weeks to see how we went. As always, Oscar, Tyson, thank you for being with me. We will definitely be back next time, and we will look to integrate other people onto the podcast. We have some very big fans of other teams, other good teams in particular. We have probably, off the top of my head, we got Grizzlies, we got Bucks, and we got Suns. So we're gonna maybe get some other people, some big super fans, to get on the show and give us their takes. But make sure to keep following us on Instagram and our social media pages. Keep the comments going. As much as I bag on the Philadelphia fans for the Twitter beef, it is enjoyable to actually respond to some people. But that is all, ladies and gentlemen, for Priceless Takes episode 27. I am your host, Luka Price. Thank you for being with us, and we will see you next time.
Peace.